Oh, how fabulous. Hi there. Welcome to How Fabulous by Toni and Co. I'm Toni, and in this episode, I speak to the very lovely lady, Shirlene Allison. Now, Shirlene is not only a model, a working model, but she is also a mum and she runs another business, and we get into that whole business as well. She's a really talented lady. She's a graphic designer. She's a lot of things. And we talk about the how, what's, where's of her life. Shirlene and I met a long time ago through the advertising industry. She was actually coming in for a casting that I was conducting. So there's that. And I've kept in touch with her throughout the years. So we have a really lovely chat. She has just got the most amazing energy, this lady. And it was a delight, absolute delight to chat to her. So there you go, Shirlene Allison. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I enjoyed catching up with her. Hello, and welcome to How Fabulous by Toni and Co. I'm Toni, and today I'm joined by the very fabulous lady, Shirlene Allison, and also Wu-Tang Fang has just made his way here. He's scoping Shirlene out. She reaches down to pat him, and he stays there. He eyes her up, thinking, "I'll go onto that." onto that lap. Oh. You know I'm mad for cats, so I'm always going to be a bit distracted, especially when we're filming here. Welcome, Shirlene. Sorry about that. My focus is on you now.
Thanks for the lovely introduction. I'm just grateful to be here. You've done so much yourself, and it's just great to be surrounded by amazing women. And you've been in every part of different parts of industries, like interiors and producing. So I admire that.
Oh, and back at you, because there's a whole lot of stuff that I didn't know about you, and I guess I'll explain my recollection of how you and I met many years ago. So Shirlene is actually, she's a business owner, a model, a graphic designer, and a mama, and what else do you do? Community events, all sorts of stuff. So she wears a lot of hats. But I met her when I didn't know any of sort of the other part. I just knew her as a model. And so, you are a model, you were a model, and you continue to model.
Yeah, so I try to fit that in. So it's been nearly 20 years now. So I started as a teenager.
Oh my goodness, when did you start out?
17, just straight after high school.
Wow.
I just knew I wanted to get into the industry. Always looked at magazines and TV shows and just thought there wasn't enough faces of colour in there, and I wanted to change things, and it took a while actually, but we are getting there.
Yeah, so, it has literally taken a long time.
Yes,
you know, if you started at 17, there's no way. Probably, your experience. So let's go back there. Did you sign up with an agency back then?
I did. So when I was 17, I walked into 4 of the big agencies, just did my research.
In Melbourne?
In Melbourne.
Yep.
So it was great. I went in with 2 other girlfriends back then. We were all the same age. We all had the same drive and passion to get into the industry, and 3 of them wanted to sign me up straight away, which was a good feeling. It was a good confidence boost, and went to a 4th one, and they took some photos as well. And by the end of the day, I got a phone call to say, would you like to come to a casting on the same day? And so that's the agency I ended up first with. But it was still an uphill battle. So from starting out, I did go to a few castings and go-sees back then. And it was just hard to just nail the job, because it was all going out to the Anglo models. That was what was in trend back then as well.
And so when you went to do you think that the briefs from the clients that came back then, so this is what, in early 1990s?
To early 2000s.
Early 2000s. Yeah. So do you think the brief was, and this is interesting because, this is how I actually know you, through looking at your comp card as a producer going, do you think that the briefs that were going to your agent were just, about age and height and, or was it we specifically want to see an Asian model, or
It was quite generic back then. It was like, I want to see a brunette, mostly more youthful look. So back then, I would say they were casting and hiring a lot more younger girls to promote older women's outfits. So it just didn't make much sense back then to me.
It still doesn't make any sense. It still doesn't make any sense, and we'll go into that because I look at it now as a woman of 50 or nearly 50 and think, what have I got in common? No, I don't want someone who's, you know, half my body weight.
Exactly.
And who's 5 years younger than me, telling me what I should be wearing or saying, oh, I do this for my skin. Yeah. Your skin's perfect, babe. It's like, you don't need anything. Just put some flipping moisturiser. It doesn't matter what moisturiser. Just slap some crap on from the supermarket. It's okay.
That's right. So it's just, over time, I can even pinpoint it to about 2009, and that's when I think the change was happening, where I felt like they were choosing models because of my background as an Asian model. So from 2009, I'll just say from, 2007, I think I entered the Miss Universe Australia competition. And the top
did you? See, I didn't know that. Oh my God, how did you? So wait. I just need to know, how do you enter that? Like, what did you do? What was the process?
A friend first contacted me and said, oh, they're doing castings at QV in the city. And I thought, okay, I'm close by, I'll drop by and see who's casting. And the woman that was casting, she had a thing as well. She liked to have more diversity in the industry. So there was a few advocates in the industry at that time, which was great.
Yeah, fantastic.
But the 4 winners that were chosen at that time, they were all blonde girls. And I thought, oh, okay, I won't give up yet, I'll try again. Yeah. So 2 years later, I think it was 2 years, 2 years later, I entered again, and then I had much more luck, so that was great. So there was 4 of us chosen, and I think there was a Greek girl, and there was, I can't remember what nationality, but she also, it was a more multicultural top 4, and that was amazing. So that's when the change was slowly starting to happen. But I did get a comment from someone in the industry saying, you're just a filler at the moment, you're just going to be in the top 30.
That's terrible.
I know, it's terrible.
That's a terrible thing to say and a terrible thing to hear.
Yeah, it was actually. And they said if you win, no one's going to know what, you know, you're not going to look like you're representing Australia. So, oh, okay.
What?
That's a great, I know.
Oh,
yeah. So these are the comments I used to get. So I go in there, you're mentally trying to prepare for the finals and you want to take out the title, but you know there's a lot going against you at that time. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So it's been a battlefield going, trying to get places in this industry, but in the last few years, it's been amazing. I don't know if it's my age or like the change in wanting more coloured faces out there, but I've noticed I've been able to now be the main person in campaigns, which has been amazing.
Yeah, so not like just the add-on, the afterthought, the token.
Right. Because in the past,
it shouldn't be.
Yeah, if you look at campaigns, if there was 3 models, you'd always have the Anglo one in the middle and the ones with colours on the side.
The backup dancers.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So I'm grateful that's changing.
That's brilliant. Yeah. And does that give you more confidence though? Does it make you feel like? Well, actually, does age make you more confident as a model?
Yes, I'd say experience as well. And then getting to know people in the industry. I didn't know many before I started. I was just thrown in the deep end. So, and I think people understand that you're a professional after a while. They know you're going to make the job in time, and you treat it like work.
And this is it. I mean, I guess this is the thing. I mean, you don't. You know, the few times I've met you, you don't. And what I see of you, you don't come across as a vacuous, flippant sort of that kind of person. You know, you are a beautifully calm person, and you bring in a lot of good energy.
Thank you.
And you know, and I imagine that as a job, modelling you would take very seriously.
Yes.
And not treat it like it was something that shouldn't be, something that you turn up to on time and give your very best. And
that's right.
You know, and I've seen both. Trust me,
I'm sure you've seen heaps of it in there. But
lots of people acting really terribly in situations like that and not treating it like a job,
a proper job.
Yeah, like a proper job,
that's
and
right.
a professional. And that's because that's your you know, that's your calling card, that's your tool, that's your thing that will get you work, and bringing your own personality, not just that look, is what it's about, isn't it?
That's
really?
right. And also understanding the other side of the fence as well. You're a business owner, you're employing models to represent your brand, and everyone's on a time constraint too. So I understand that side of the fence, and you're there as a model to do your work and not waste people's time.
And it has, and I think the industry definitely, you know, even you know, I've been in advertising a very, very long time, and I've seen huge changes happen. And I worked for a client that for years and years and years we couldn't get any cultural diversity, you know, rode in at all with casting. It had to be a very particular look, and they wouldn't think either side of it. And it took years and years and years and years, and they finally are now. And I think it's Boo coming down again.
He's too cute.
Baby. And it makes me feel really excited that, you know, that is happening, and casting agencies are thinking differently, brands are thinking differently, worldwide brands are thinking differently.
It just makes sense because they need to advertise to your buyers. That's right.
And also older women.
Exactly,
you know,
it's a big market.
The fact that you can, you know, there's agencies out there that represent women who, you know, are over 45, heaven forbid, that's old. You know, God forbid that you get grey hair, or you get some wrinkles, or, you know, you get a little bit of, you know, put weight on, or whatever it might be. But there's agencies out there that actually represent those people, and not just for, you know, incontinence pads.
That's right.
You know, they're actually beautiful women, and this should be celebrated. And I think that, you know, you being part of this whole, you know, the movement, the progress is, you know, a wonderful place to be.
No, it's fantastic, and I'm so glad that after all these years I can still be in this industry and still see so many supporters like yourself advocating all the time for more faces of colour, different sizes, different ages.
Yeah,
so,
and that's, you know,
so important.
I'm a big one for, you know, fashion being fun and attainable for people of all ages, of all sizes, of all shapes, you know. And if you happen to be lovely and Woo's just passed out on the floor, hilarious. You know, and if you happen to be a in great shape, that's great. But also, when the clothes come in all shapes and sizes, you know. And Australia is a multicultural country. We just have so many amazing flavours here of people, and it's just, that's what makes us so unique, you know.
Exactly. And I'll talk about
tell me.
So last year I did shoot a pretty big campaign. It's a well-known brand as well, and just because COVID took place last year and where it came from, I found a lot more racism as well over time, taking place in 2020. So the comments that were made, it was a sponsored post on Facebook, as you do, and usually I'd ignore the comments that came through, but there was a lot that was left that were attacking our race. And the first person that called me was my mother, and she was saying, oh, there's been a lot of negative comments, and I asked her what's it about, and she was ashamed to even mention what they were saying online. And the next morning I woke up and I had all these messages from friends that screen captured all the comments that were made, and I thought, this is not on.
These are screen warriors, aren't they? I'm sorry, keyboard warriors.
Yeah, keyboard warriors. Yeah. And so I said to Mum, I'm going to address this. I'm going to just put it out there in social media and just let them know this is how people are treating people about race. My mum's like, just don't do it. She wanted to save face.
Because your background is
Chinese Timorese. Yes. And so I'm glad I spoke out, because it was amazing how many people contacted me saying that they were all feeling this racism too. And it was horrible. Like this girl, she was on the train, and because of her race, someone called her, you know, coronavirus and spat on her and left the train. She was in shock. And this poor young girl was feeling anxious. So all these stories kept coming in, and I thought, oh my goodness.
Devastating. It's devastating that last year that was, you know, that's still...
Yeah, that was one of the...
A thought in people's heads.
Yeah.
It just, I can't even get my head around that.
Yeah, that's right. So it's gone from being over the moon representing this brand that's been very accepting, very into diversity, Yes, just seeing this happen, but they were fantastic. The head office, they got on to me, they sent flowers, they said it was not on, they kept apologising to all the crew that was involved as well.
Yeah.
So that was great to see a company step up in
I
that
love
way.
that you actually decided you were going to say something about that.
Yeah, so most of the time models, you know, you don't say anything, you're just there to do the job. But I just thought it just meant so much more to me. And
Absolutely,
I wanted to,
it does mean something.
Yeah.
And we should all be able to say, something about it and call it out.
That's right.
And just say it and not be afraid of what might happen.
Exactly, that's right. When something just does not feel right, my gut feeling was thinking, I can't stay quiet about this. And it was just amazing. All the support, even from my industry as well, from all the other models, the producers that saw it, they were all on the same boat. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting thing. Well, I mean, it's funny because I did a podcast with another lady, and we spoke quite in depth about this, you know, and she was asking me about my background because I actually don't look. Well, I look. People can't work out what the heck I am.
Yeah.
And in actual fact, I'm Māori Chinese.
Oh, it was amazing you told me that.
So, because I don't really look. You know, people probably usually pick me for Greek or Italian or something sometimes. You know, but never Asian, and definitely not Māori because, you know, I just don't look that way. But my mum looks very Asian, or my aunties look very Asian, my grandfather is full Chinese, and, you know, all of that. So it's interesting when and we were talking about this in the podcast, that people will start to say something about Chinese this or the thing, or Asian something, or when they don't know, because they think, you know, because I'm pretty fair-skinned really in the whole scheme of things, and you know, you have to, and Phil, my husband, he's, you know, completely white, he's English and white and pink, and very beautiful, but he'll always step in before I even have a chance usually to say something like, yes, and Toni's background is Asian, before you start saying, oh, and the thing, and it embarrasses the other people, and it should. It should.
Probably he steps in too. I like that.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. You know, and I would say something, but it is still quite interesting how many times that happens, and it's usually in this group setting of people that, you know, they don't know who I am, and, you know, they just sort of judge this, and then start thinking that they can have this sort of casual remark about something, and I think, no, you can't. And that's the thing, we were talking about this, you've got to say something. You've got to say something. You have to, because for too long people don't say anything. And for you to be, you know, speaking out about that whole campaign is huge, and then your kids see it, you know, see you saying something, and your daughter says, you know, knows you don't have to be quiet about it.
Exactly. And I think once you have children as well, as you know, you just want to do the best you can and be a good role model to them as well. So
absolutely. And so you've, you know, along your modelling career, you've also done other things. So when did you get into graphic design as well?
Yeah, so I started that about 21. I studied it for 4 years, did illustrations as well. So since then I've been able to freelance, and that's worked well with the fashion industry as well, because I end up designing some labels and working for people in that sense, and I love being able to see the creative process between the modelling jobs and seeing the end process. That's my passion. That's what drives me more. So and it's seeing the end product and being able to apply my own skills in that sense as well, and seeing how I could have done things differently, or how I could improve my own work. So it just ties in. It's a creative industry, so it's just one big bubble, I find.
And so what sort of illustrations do you do?
Lots of things. At the moment I'm rebranding for a beauty salon. I've got another client, she owns multiple businesses, so I do a lot of different graphic design work for her too, so mostly like logo designs and brochures. I do a lot for our own business, like order of services, so it keeps me quite busy as well on the side. And usually it's when the kids go to bed. That's my time to work.
Well, this is the thing, you know, we're all connected. You could do that anywhere in the world and still be, you know,
that's right,
fulfilling your creative kind of. Did you freehand drawing as well?
Yeah, so I do illustrations. So I've always grown up, loved drawing, always been in the arty field. So yeah, a big mix of bit of everything. So I just find it all ties in with the modelling, the art, and I've dabbled in a little bit of photography, so it's just an interest, and it calms me too. It's like my zen. Yeah.
And with the, do you think you might do a little book or something like that?
Oh, maybe in the future. I did do an ebook on child modelling because I found a lot of parents were asking me about the industry, and I thought, like, there's an idea. So I put one together and...
Did you really? What's it called?
Yeah. Oh, it was just child modelling, a parent's handbook.
I need to have a look
Parents'
at that.
guide.
You should get onto child employment with that.
Oh, yeah.
And send that to them so they send it out.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
I've done obviously a lot of kids shoots.
Oh, yes.
And there's,
Very
mounds and mounds and mounds and mounds of paperwork to do.
I should have interviewed you for that.
Oh my God, the stories I can tell you about this. Yeah, I mean the laws in Victoria are really strict around employing children in the entertainment industry. And for some, you've got to know the ins and outs. And I think a lot of people think that they just need, if a brand's doing a shoot, that if someone's just got a child employment permit, as in the license, that's it, they're good to go. But it's not that at all. You actually have to apply for the permit, and there's lots of different ways you can do that, and you've got to lodge all this paperwork, and you've got to do backup. There's documentation to support all of that, and you've got to do site visits, and you've got to be really across your duty of care and exactly what is happening, what they're eating, where they're getting changed, are you filming stills or video, all that sort of stuff. And over the years, I've done thousands, exaggeration, hundreds, I've done a shitload. But I think sometimes the parents would go, why am I doing all of this paperwork? It's crazy. Literally there's the medical history, we've got to take it to not the doctor, the headmaster to sign, and then I'm signing it, and who's picking it up, and you're like, this keeps your child safe.
That's right.
And this is what's happening because a lot of people in the industry will be a bit dodgy. Yes. So sending something like that out to assist, so how they can actually say it's not just all because they can't be, because they've got nothing better to do. It's about keeping the kids safe.
That's right.
Because it can be a bit. Well, as you would know, it's a bit of a.
That's right. And I mean, I'd recommend the industry for children, especially it's at a very professional standard in Australia. So
Well, some people do it, some people don't. But it's like that with all industries. Yeah. Now you also do so you're doing the graphic design plus you're modelling. Yes. Then you have some beautiful babies and you have a lovely partner. And then what sort of happens a bit later?
Yeah, so 2016, around that time, it was, everyone has personal issues, but it was a complicated time, and the first thing that I wanted to step down from was from modelling. So in my mind already I thought, I'm going to just retire from this and focus on family issues. And so it was my beautiful agency, I sent them a message saying, I'm going to leave now, it's been a few years, we're starting our own business, I need to focus on that. Brought them in wine, chocolates, and I said, look, that was so funny. They're like, Shirlene, you're not quitting yet. Next day called me up. They're like, you've got a huge casting, you're shortlisted, you have to go see them. And they just roped me back in. They just knew it. They knew I couldn't leave, and they were spot on. So they kept me for a few more years, which is great because I've done some more amazing jobs since then. But now they're so understanding. They know I can get very busy with my other work, and they know I'll just mostly take direct bookings these days. And it's great. It just works that way. That when I've got time, then I'll do more work in the modelling side of things. And other times it's mostly, my focus is growing our business as well, which is a funeral business, so Botanical Funerals. So me and my husband, we started it in 2016 after my mother-in-law suicided. Very sadly, environmental factors in that. So anyone who can be strong-minded, never thought, in the life of me that this would happen, we should have a breakdown. And before she went, she said to me and my husband, just start your own thing. I'll just be supporting you both. And so I felt like we got her blessing before everything happened. So that year, it felt like we lost everything. My husband was in a family business, a 250-year-old family business. He was the 6th generation in it. That it just collapsed around him. Like that went, and then what else? My son was going through issues with attention. My own mother had very serious health issues back then as well. I just felt like everything
was coming at you. The universe was really,
that's right.
And you were being tested.
Yeah. So
I think we all, I can relate.
Do you get tested in life? It does.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And anyone could lose control when
Absolutely.
nothing around you makes sense.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
being in that dark place, we just thought, let's just give it our all. We've got nothing to lose now. Let's just start this up on our own. Let's step away from the family business. Let's do something that we can be proud of, that your mother can be proud of. And we came up with Botanical Funerals. She loved gardens, and we love gardens as well. And it's a tranquil place to be when you're grieving. And so we just invested our savings, everything, into our website first. That was our shop front, I'll call that. And the first day we promoted it on social media. We just said, we're launching now. And that first day we got a call to say this gentleman's grandmother had passed away. So that was our very first one we did together. And it was amazing. He ended up he started doing live streaming for us as well in the end, this gentleman who came to us.
Wow,
So,
wow. I love how,
it's funny how things work.
that it happened, I mean, sadly, because your mother-in-law,
but she's blessed us over time. I just feel so grateful just with how everything's going with life now. We're very happy, and my husband's very strong-minded, and I'm just so proud of him to be able to step up that way. It wasn't easy at the start. He was still trying to juggle the family, young toddler and another young child as well, and taking on 3 other jobs. But now it's just full-time. This is our passion now.
And so Botanical Funerals.
Yes.
So this was probably in some ways your mother-in-law's legacy.
Yeah, it feels like it. Yeah. That's right.
To incorporate her love of gardens and nature and so what does that mean? What does that mean for the business? What is it?
Yeah, so I like to think that with our business, we're more new age, we're a youthful brand as well. So what we do now, instead of the traditional funeral homes, we go out to where people would prefer to be, like their favourite winery or yacht club, modern chapels. So it's a different way of doing funerals. So, and I find people, the service is a lot more modern, and we want it to be a lot more to do with the family, what they want. So the type of music they can choose, their style,
and less stuffy.
Less stuffy. That's right.
And I mean, because it's a terrible. It's a really, and I know from experience, it's surreal.
Yes.
And you just don't think it's going to happen. And you just find yourself in this. Just a really terribly...
It's a terrible time, and you just want to take that burden away from the family. You want to be there for them, and so we want to keep it small. We don't want to upscale. My husband's come from a big scale type company, and so we want to keep that personalised type of service. And we've become friends with a lot of our families that have come into our care as well.
I could imagine that you would, because the energy you're even bringing here is just such it's just so beautiful and calming. And so to have you around, and I can imagine what your husband is like, to have that not resource sounds so not the right word, but to have that energy at a time like that would be just so important. It's what you want. Like you just you're really flying blind and just overcome with everything. So you would be the perfect person to have there.
Thank you.
I can imagine why you would be becoming friends with the family of these people.
But I never thought in my entire life I would be working in this type of industry.
Yeah, well, that was going to be one of my questions. Did you ever think, so when you were 17, going, right, I'm going to be a model, and also I'm going to have my own sort of funeral service business as well?
I just always knew from a young age I wanted my own business. I've always been driven in that sense. I always wanted to run my own show. My father always had his own business, and that's what I've grown up to know.
Yeah.
So it was funny because when I met my husband at 19 on the dance floor, I was like, what do you do? I was just dancing around. And he said, funeral director. I thought, oh my goodness. I went all silent. I didn't know what to say. Like, my parents never speak about it. It's superstitious to talk about this type of...
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It is. It's great that you're talking about it because it demystifies it. It makes it feel... not makes it feel, it's terrible English, but, you know, people don't talk about it.
That's right, but it's
because it feels really...
Yeah.
It's like you talk about the funeral, you talk about the wedding, and people getting together, and that's when families come together, you know, like at funerals and weddings. Yes. But they don't want to talk about death and the funeral because you know, it brings up fear, and I guess it brings up our own feelings of whatever.
Yeah. So we just wanted to make it an easy process for everyone, and we want to make it as part of conversation. Even the topic of suicide or mental illness, it's important to talk about it.
Do you think talking about it makes people less scared of it?
Yes.
And less awkward around it?
Oh, absolutely. You want people to feel comfortable to be able to express it. Because the worst thing is not being able to speak about it and holding it in, because that's when you've got the chance of losing a loved one if they don't feel comfortable enough to bring it up. And that's why it should be an open conversation.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, mental health and people talking, you know, people that have more of a platform and have more in recent times, especially in, you know, across social media, being more open about it. There's still a lot of stuff that, you know, people don't want to have out there and they don't feel comfortable, and that's okay. Yeah. But, you know, maybe slowly, the more people and the more ordinary people just go, that's, you know, because it is so common. And like over COVID. Yes. My gosh.
Definitely over COVID.
You know, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on COVID too.
Yes.
You know, people that thought that they were beyond... you know, feeling that way. There's a lot of pressure.
That's right.
A lot of pressure.
Especially being on the funeral side of it as well. Like in December especially, a lot of young people we conducted services for, just around Christmas time. It was very sad, and I just couldn't bring myself to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I just thought, all these lost lives, and we could have had a chance to save them if more people were more open and they felt that love. So, so there you go. So I've got that side where it's a sad industry, and I've also got the happy industry as well, so it's a fine balance.
It is, but do you find that the saying goodbye industry is also, are you trying to make it more about a celebrating of that person's life?
Yes, because...
rather than just, you know, because that's a lovely thing to... You know, it's a terrible thing. People only say good stuff about you when you die. Like, oh my God, they were this and they were that. Like, you know, wouldn't it be wonderful to encourage people to say more about that when actually they're there? You know,
that's right.
Like, I really love the way you there, or I really love the way you.
That's right.
Whatever.
And also gratitude. Just being so happy. You wake up, you're breathing, you're healthy. Yeah. That's first priority. If you've got that, then everything else is. You know, it should be good in your life. Don't worry about the small things. That's what I say. Just focus on the bigger picture.
Yeah, don't sweat the small stuff. And I've been saying this to myself lately and to other people, because I've had quite a few friends that have sort of reached out that don't feel so much of in a good place for whatever reason. And I keep saying, just remember that, you know, tomorrow when you wake up, or today when you wake up, this is the first day of the rest of your life. Yeah. You know, and I kind of think that's, it's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit American movie kind of vibe, but it's actually really true. You know, it is about, you know, feeling grateful just to be here another day, but it's literally the first day of the rest of your life, if you think about it that way.
That's a great thing.
You know, and we had someone, Sue on earlier, she was, what was that thing? YOLO. I didn't know what it was because she's young and breathy, and I'm like, do you know what it is?
What's that, fear of missing out? No.
You only live once. YOLO.
Yes, that's it.
Because she said, she's talking away, she goes, YOLO. And I went,
Yeah.
You only live once.
Yes.
So I feel like I'm going to be saying that everywhere now. YOLO!
Yeah. Young person term.
Even though it's awkward me saying it. But anyway.
I have to Google that.
Yeah.
It's like you said ironically now. So it's fine if you say it. It's funny.
Can
it's
you?
Iconic. Yeah.
Okay.
I said, I'm like, YOLO.
Oh,
Like, the way she said it was ironic. Because I think it was like a thing, like, probably, like ages back, and then it got weird, and then now people say it like like not real, like as a joke, I guess.
Oh, okay.
So you can say it like that, and people will be like, yeah, true. Like I'm like, oh, YOLO. Like,
Okay.
Or how you deliver it.
Yeah.
Is it how you deliver it?
It is like a funny thing. Like it's not like serious.
So you can go,
I think
YOLO!
it was back, honestly, I want to say like 2013, 2014.
Oh my goodness, I'm so
like
behind.
It's been around for
Did
a
you
while.
know that?
Really ages.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so it like, and then went out,
Yeah.
because that was back when like TBT was all these things, you know, the short text emoticons were in?
Yeah.
And that's when when Nokia's was still like kind of, the iPhones weren't really a thing yet, like people had them like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so that's one for you
GG,
then.
got to go.
I'm saying you every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
YOLO, and this is the first day of the rest of your life, which I really
Lovely.
like that.
Yeah.
And so, what's the next thing for you? Do you think? What are you going to be doing?
The path I'm on now is just being community focused. So we've got a big event organised for our area. We've got the councillor involved. We've got 10 people in our committee. I just want to create a big market event with live music and food vans, just to bring the community together. I think it's important to know your neighbours, and just know there's always someone there around, and what a great way to introduce people than to create some festival.
Because community is really important, isn't
So
it?
important.
And you would know that because you will have seen people think that they are on their own. You know, that have passed because they felt that they were alone.
Yes.
But you know, and that's how community can help.
Yes.
And you know, not just your family, but beyond
The bigger community.
the bigger community that do. You know, you know when we've got a friend. Unfortunately, she's fighting very bravely cancer, and she's receiving treatment, and so her family can't cook. So someone, it wasn't me because I wouldn't know how to do it, but I always imagined I would be trying to cook and send food somehow. But they set up it was like a whole fandangled online schedule about on that day you cook, and we had this whole group set up. And of course I couldn't work out how to use it, and so I was like, I'm gonna text you, I'm sending you, emailing you an Uber Eats thing, so your boys can do. But it was like this whole thing, you know, she knows that. And I think that's the thing, the spirit of togetherness, the spirit of community, the spirit of, you know, bonding together when the chips are down.
Yes, especially when the times are, when it's hard.
Exactly, you know, because you know, what we see on social media often is, oh my gosh, it's so fabulous. Well, it is, you know, a lot of it is fabulous, but it's not always fabulous, because after you see something, you know, online, it's not always like that in reality.
Absolutely. I see online use is like having a photo album. You always put your best photos through, like a hardcover photo album. You took photos of birthdays and things like that. So that's how I've always treated it. So I know everyone's putting up their best lives.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone's going through something. So always be kind.
Yeah, always be kind. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Well, look, thank you so much for coming in today,
Thank you
Shirlene.
so much for having me, Toni.
I feel excited that you were even here, because I feel like the last time we met was at the casting. I feel like it was in the casting.
Oh yeah, it was a few years ago. You were casting. I was intimidated. I'm like, is this woman going to book us? But I love that you're advocating for diversity. That means a lot.
You know, and all the agents and the consultants and everybody. You know, things are changing now, and about time. So you know, keep up with you know, talking about it and keeping. You know, keeping the conversation open and going.
Yes,
and calling out stuff that doesn't feel right.
Yes, thank you. We'll do.
All right. Well, we'll put all your details on the post.
Thank you.
Business that goes up on YouTube and the podcast, and you can you know, follow what you're doing and have a look at all your amazing campaigns and your work. And are we allowed to share your graphic design
Yes,
business
no,
as well?
that'd be great. Thank you. I'll
Yes.
put that on.
Okay, yes, put
I'll
that
give you
on
the
as
link.
well. Yes,
Wonderful.
it's all about,
Thank
sharing
you.
the love.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.